Oh, shit, we're on. That's embarrassing. Good morning, everybody. It is almost the end of July.
It is.
And it's just August, and then supposedly we're in spring.
Nice.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Been watching
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
the Northern Hemisphere wind down
Oh, yeah.
as they prepare for winter.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
Sorry.
Well, it's our turn. I don't feel bad about it. So how are you? What was your weekend like?
Spent mostly indoors and with family. It wasn't that cold though, but today's a little chillier.
No, listen, as long as you're in the sun, even in the coldest South African winter, if you can find a bit of sun, you're usually okay.
Through a window.
Yeah, you're usually
on
all
a
right.
sofa.
Yeah.
Yours?
I hope you had. I had a good weekend. I was with some friends, and we had a little kind of weekend away, which was very, very special, and just also had lots of relaxing, funny games, like where you play like 5-second guessing games and so on. And people were just. Everybody was laying into each other. It was so funny. And lots of fun conversations, lots of interesting discussions about all kinds of things, the meaning of life right through to primitive like ape noises. There was the full gamut. So
Was that the one who doesn't really speak much?
it was actually remarkably, there were quite a few of us who were making stupid noises at one point, and then at another point we were being incredibly smart and sensible and asking deep, meaningful, spiritual questions. It runs that kind of up and down, but it was fun. It was really fun, and it was just a nice, happy weekend. Lots of kind of afternoon naps and that sort of thing. Very nice. So I think that's the way to spend winter. Frankly. But yeah, ready to be back and at the helm for this week. We're recording some new episodes of Blind History tomorrow, which I'm excited as hell about.
Speaking about primitive ape sounds,
Damn right.
How far back do you go and how much more history is left?
Actually, I'm glad you asked, because our next Blind History episode is going to focus on Gog, who was one of the first cavemen to walk upright.
You see?
Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of info on him, but...
He didn't leave this amazing legacy.
Unfortunately, no written materials. There's not much we could say about him, actually. It might be a very short episode, but we've got to eventually give him credit. Then, I think you might have heard that story. James, Flex, you guys will remember. Ben told me about the story about these monks in Thailand.
Yes.
You know about it?
I do.
With Willawa Emzawat. Is that her name? Yeah, Willawa Emzawat. Emzatwat, sorry.
Emzatwat.
This hooker, was basically pumping the whole monastery.
But now, listen, this is not the first time. Yeah. So because I saw a news flash.
You mean she's done this periodically over decades?
Well, I don't know about her, but the meth stuff.
Oh, right. Okay, because this is the new part of the story. Now, it's not just Willawan Emzawat and all the pumping.
No, there's more debauchery.
It's now also the meth, because all these monks, and I just want to point out to all those
naysayers of meth.
No. I just there's so many young, like, white girls in the West who go, "Oh my God, Buddhism is for me because it's so spiritual, and you can sit and meditate, and it just makes perfect sense to me. And like other Western religions don't make sense to me, but Buddhism is just it's so real. And like those are the really spiritual people." And I wonder what they're all saying now when they see this whole temple full of monks who are now basically meth-addled and horny, and the opposite of what spiritual people are meant to be, right?
And why meth, I was asking as well. As I say, I see this happened in 2002.
Yeah.
Sorry, what year is it now? 2025. 2022.
Yeah, I need some help on the year. Someone get her a calendar.
In 2022, there were no monks left in this one temple because they were all on meth. Yeah. But these ones they've actually been arrested, and they've been put in proper rehab centers. So apparently they do take it recreationally, but then also for certain religious annual religious experiences. But it's a weird drug
I don't know. You try and take drugs into Thailand, and I've heard that they will put you in jail for the rest of your life. But clearly drugs are getting in, and you would think they'd be going to like Australian tattooed tourists on the beaches. But it's going to monks. So again, when somebody looks too holy, walk around in the saffron robes and the shaved head, and they bow to you as you walk past, and you think, wow, what an incredibly evolved human. Like, this person must just know more than me. They must be wise in ways I have yet to discover. Only to find later on that they are meth addicts and just like horny for hookers and prostitutes all the time, and basically can't keep it together. It just shows you again, there are no such thing as perfect humans. And anyone who tells you that they are somehow they've got special abilities, somehow they are closer to God, it's just bullshit. They aren't, and that's nonsense. And if you believe them, then you're the fool, right? It's on you.
I mean, surely it's a smaller percentage than we're thinking here. It's not all of them.
I mean, even so, this just proves, because I'm absolutely convinced that many people who go to places like Indonesia, Thailand, that part of the world, are going there just for holidays. They just want to go there to see, especially from the rest of the world. They just want to see like beautiful white beaches with gentle waves, these aquamarine seas, the 5-star service where you get waited on hand and foot, amazing Thai food, all of that. So, I mean, I'm selling it because I think it is probably amazing. I've never been there myself. But I do think there is a percentage of people who go there because they want to have a spiritual connection with something.
Yeah.
They want to feel like they've gone. And for some reason, for people in the West, the East draws them, just lots of them. And I always say white Western women, but it's also guys. The kind who wear like 10 bracelets on each arm and, sit around at parties kind of with long hair looking preachy. Those kind of people.
Yeah, I know them.
So
saw lots of them in Bali.
I just think these people, we just need to realize these are not people to follow. And there is no place where you will attain perfect balance and perfection unless you can first attain it in your own life. It's not going to happen by going somewhere. It's not going to be someone else who puts it in your head. You're going to have to find that yourself.
Yeah.
Change comes from within.
Yeah, and it is a very dangerous place to be messing with drugs.
Yeah.
I saw a video of an Australian tourist being arrested this weekend in Bali. Yeah, and you can see the fear on his face because and it was for a little bag of coke or a powdered substance. And you can just see the fear in his face because he knows this is not the place.
Really?
Well, he should have known that.
Well, Carl dos Santos says, Gareth, when having a cooking competition, nobody wins. It's always a tie. I do like Thai food. I have always liked Thai food.
Not when it makes me ill.
No, because you had the squirts, didn't you, when you were there? Yeah.
And surprisingly, it's your fresh foods. So you want to go for that. Like,
did you have any of that?
Those rice paper wraps with all the fresh veggies inside.
Oh, is that bad news?
Yeah, I think that was a cause, and the brushing of the teeth without using purified water.
Yeah, and how embarrassing.
I know, it's rookie errors.
Truth is, Buddhist monks are involved in a number of enterprises, e.g. owning hotels. Okay, so I'm not saying that they shouldn't be in business.
Well, actually, I don't know if that's part of their
I don't know if you're allowed. I don't know what the rules are for them. But it seems to me that a lot of people who work within what they see as rules that they can change at will. And, this is also what happens in this country so much with culture. People will go, it's my culture to do this, that, and the other. It's my culture to have children with 5 different women and not have to be responsible for them. It's like, no, that's just you being irresponsible. That's not, you can't blame your culture for that. There's no great book of cultures, and somewhere in it says, if someone has 5 different children with 5 different women and they don't pay for any of them, That's totally culturally acceptable. Signed, the great culture officer. It's just bullshit. And I do think for a lot of people who are not entirely imbued in the rules and the regulations and the history and haven't paid attention to all of the stories around a particular religion, they just take and leave and cherry pick what they want. I mean, we've seen this happen with, the Catholic Church is the most obvious example. They create something called purgatory and then limbo, and then they decide a couple of 100 years later, no, those are bullshit things. Meanwhile, there are mothers and fathers who've been praying for decades for the soul of their child trapped in limbo or purgatory, and now some papal bull comes along with a sealed statement, and then those things don't exist anymore. And the same goes here. I mean, can Buddhist monks own a hotel? Why the hell not? But then there's going to be some other monastery that says, "Oh no, we don't do. We're purer than those guys.
Yeah, we're the meth guys. We're not the hotel owning guys.
Yeah, exactly. Stupid." That teacher who got her husband to trim the bushes got suspended as well. I saw that. So this is another story that we came up with when we had Richard Wilkinson on the show. He's the guy who writes about all the school shenanigans, from either the parents' angle or from the teacher's angle or from the governing bodies or the Department of Education. And this was at Girls High, I think in Pretoria, where the headmistress asked her husband, who's a pensioner, to please come and cut the lawn with their lawnmower from home.
Yeah.
So he got the lawnmower from home and then to do that borrowed the school bakkie. And they accused him of using school property and doing unpaid work.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. This is the level of stupidity that we've been reduced to. I also saw some great clips over the weekend when I did pay attention to news from some municipality where people had basically been awarding themselves bonuses to the tune of 18 million rand.
Was this not the Free State municipality?
Somewhere there. And they'd done nothing. They'd done zero to earn it.
The guy being questioned couldn't list 5 things that they do.
He could barely speak English.
He couldn't list what they do.
That guy must have. And, it's a funny thing. Like, again, it's not the only measure of intelligence. But if you are unable to even articulate a good argument in your favor and somehow you found yourself into a government job at a high level where you're signing off 18 million rand in bonuses, I mean, you have to be fairly senior to do. I've never signed off 18 million rand in anything. Don't know about you.
Well, I've never received an 18 million rand bonus from you.
Well, no. I mean, listen, I wouldn't know how to do that. I'd bankrupt the company. But the fact is, this guy clearly, he could not even explain what was going on. It was like it was like finding like primitive man.
Yeah.
With the tools around him to build a supercomputer, but he has no idea what to do. That's how this guy is. He just had no idea what he was doing. He was in charge of this big municipality. I think it might even be Bloemfontein or something.
Yeah. The one I saw was definitely Free State.
So, I mean, what a disgraceful way to run anything. But they'd awarded themselves all this money in bonuses, and they even admitted there was zero performance. In other words, the people who were given the bonuses were not like people repairing traffic lights or potholes or making sure that the municipal buildings were in good order, the gardens were kept tidy. None of that stuff. I mean, in any of those situations, you would have said, okay, well, maybe they deserve a small bonus if they'd done all that stuff. But they'd done nothing. So they got 18 million rand in bonuses. I think there were about, 8 of them. That's a lot of money to go around for people who've done fuck all, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Seeing it
more and more.
So, Oxford Eye says just swap the show over from iPad. The advert opening was a monk doing Tai Chi, which is pretty weird. Oh, that's hilarious. Chris Smith says the nature of human is a philosophy. It's all a work in progress. Other people always want to force their culture on me, says Slippery Pickle. You don't have to go with that. When people, how do people force their culture onto you? I'd like to know how that happens. Yeah, get some culture. Yeah, you want some of my culture?
Turn around.
Also
let me
saw
give
a
you some
post
culture.
yesterday that Dada Morero, who's of course the mayor of Johannesburg, bought ballpoint pens for 59,000 Rand each.
Each. What are they, Mont Blancs?
I don't know if Bitcoin But's got it right here, but even if they were 59 Rand each, that would be a lot for
Still
a
a problem.
ballpoint pen. I wouldn't put it past anybody in this government, really. How many quadrillion have they stolen over the last 30 years? Steve? I don't know, but it's a lot. And I'm just sick of it. I saw the president talking over the weekend about all the liberation movements. You know, he was talking about how in Mozambique they had, was it Joaquim Chissano? I can't even remember. I think that might have been Angola. There was Frelimo. There was SWAPO. There were all these liberation movements. And then the ANC was obviously the South African one. And, you know, they still use terms like comrade and commissar. And, like, even the Russians don't use those terms anymore. It's just so embarrassing that these guys are... They're intellectually and politically and ideologically locked into, like, 70s Soviet Union. Because that was when they were still young. It would be like me only ever listening to music from the early 90s. It would be sad. It would mean that I'd never learnt anything past that time. And that's the truth for the ANC. You know, all this, hey, comrade. And I want to say to them, what are you guys, like children? That you have to call each other comrade the whole time? Even the Soviets don't do that. There are old Soviets, people in their like 80s and 90s who were there during, you know, the fall of the Soviet Union and still wore their little hammer and sickle badges and would stand on the square in Moscow, the Red Square, going bo, 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 with their miserable fucking sad faces saluting tanks and marching soldiers. They don't even call each other comrade anymore, and you do. It's just so dumb. They've got to stop doing that. And like Cyril bemoaning the fact that these movements have lost their meaning, it's like, well then start by changing the language. Start by updating your software. How about that?
Yeah.
You know? Oh, comrade, this comrade. What are you, children? Come on, get over it. How do you find a charity or organization you can support in these corrupt times, says Bronwyn. There are lots of deserving charities in this country. There are plenty of people who do such good work. And you have to choose a charity you care about. It's got to be something you feel strongly about. If it's old people, if it's animals, if it's children who don't have homes, if it's hungry people, homeless people. I mean, you pick a cause. We've got plenty of people who need all the help they can get, right? And animals. So do whatever you can. I saw the nicest thing about Yannick Sinner. You know Sinner, the tennis player? Let me just tell you about this while we're talking about charities. This is such a beautiful story. So apparently Yannick Sinner has called it Dogtopia. It's a sprawling 15-hectare facility currently under construction near Bologna in Italy, where he's from, backed by a $5 million investment from the tennis star himself. It's far more than just a shelter. It's a dedicated healing center for dogs who've been abused, abandoned, or traumatized. Aww. We have training fields, water play areas, 24/7 veterinary care, but most importantly, we have love, Sinner said. He emphasized the dogs aren't just pets, they're family. Through Dogtopia, he hopes to set a national example and inspire fellow athletes to take action and give back. So
that is so cool.
You know, just since you asked about charities, here's one that I think is very, very deserving indeed. Ooh, James, where's your puppy?
Oh,
is he sleeping? No, then don't wake him up. James, no, don't wake him now. When he wakes up, bring him in.
The cuteness is off the chart.
You just said earlier this morning you wanted to just eat this little dog.
I think I might hurt him out of absolute love.
Listen, have you noticed a major uptick in spam? It goes in waves for me. Like I clear it all out. I reply to everything and say, cancel, because you have to unsubscribe from a lot of stuff. Sometimes people say that makes it worse because then they know you're real, you're not a bot.
Yes.
Then they come at you twice as hard. But I've got to say that the thing that bothers me about the spam I'm getting now is all of it is coming from South African banks. or people posing as South African banks.
Well, that was my problem when I was traveling.
Yeah.
Was my card was hacked and they were trying to spend money on it.
I mean, Standard Bank, where I don't even have an account, have sent me 200 emails in the last 5 days. And it's either, really good scammers who've got into Standard Bank and they've copied the signatures and they've copied the masthead and everything else. But it looks legit. And then when you obviously see the
URL
or
is,
the email address, and it's just bullshit email addresses. And I wonder how, isn't AI going to help us weed this shit out? Surely
I don't know if I trust AI yet.
No, well, I mean, surely AI can pattern recognize whether something is just total nonsense. It would make a difference, right? I don't know.
It's about catching people.
Let's look at a couple of these comments before we move. Oh, by the way, no Dr. Hanan today. We suspect that we've driven him crazy.
He's given up on us.
Yeah, we suspect that
long time ago.
All those mornings that he spent with me and with Leigh-Ann, it's ruined him.
He has spent all his coins, to use the analogy that he.
See, we do listen to him, but
he's gone on holiday. He said, "Look, I've been trying to help him for years now."
Anyone else love the irony of the mayor's name being Dada, D-A-D-A, Dada Moreira in Joburg? I never thought about that because I don't really think about the DA so much, but okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Only listen to the Spice Girls. Wouldn't be sad. It would be a crime against humanity. Yeah. So a lot of the music I was listening to this weekend was old school, but then there was a whole heap of stuff that I hadn't ever heard before that's brand new.
Mm.
And it's nice to contrast them. And it depends, obviously, on what mood you're in. But, there's so much good music, and music can lift your spirits instantly.
Yeah.
Can change the way you feel immediately.
There is a lot of good new stuff. But what I've noticed a bit of a trend of Gen Z and even Gen Alpha, who are into their parents' music.
Yeah.
So for a time that wasn't happening, and it seemed like kids didn't know things like who Elvis was. And
well, I saw a lot of a lot of stupid comments from Gen Zs and millennials who didn't know who Ozzy Osbourne was.
Now you see,
and I
experienced the opposite.
I remembered Ozzy and the Osbournes on TV, right?
Yeah.
The Osbournes, Sharon was on it, Jack, Kelly, and the Dogs and Cats. I thought, how could the millennials not know about that stuff? That's them, right? They were there. And in fact, the Osbournes was like one of the front runners for reality TV. Before it became a thing, before the Kardashians or any of those people, there was the Osbournes.
Yes.
There's that very funny episode where Ozzy's like chasing the cat around in the garden.
Yeah.
You fucking cat, motherfucker, where was your fucking cat? Come here, you piece of shit. And there's an interview they showed about, I don't know, it must have been 15 years ago, where Ozzy is interviewed by the BBC guy. And they go, Ozzy, heard there's some good news from Sharon. He goes, I'm going to do the play on Broadway or something. And the guy goes, I'll have to think of a question for that answer. And then he says, have you brought the dogs with you? And he goes, no, they're at home shitting. That's his whole contribution. I'm like, what a guy. You know, I love Ozzy Osbourne. But you've experienced the opposite, you said?
Yeah. The girls in the office were all talking about Ozzy Osbourne. They were remembering parts of the show.
Yeah.
And they're in their early 20s. So clearly it's on repeat somewhere, or it's kind of trending again that you get to watch this stuff. But
remind me to ask you about this new app in America called The T. Have you heard about it?
No, as in TEA.
Yeah, you'll
gossip.
love it. I did see this about Hulk Hogan, which I thought about for a little bit. So someone, I don't know if you remember, but Hulk Hogan, he also died last week, but he used to be a professional wrestler. He was governor of Minnesota or something for a while. Anyway, he had a major court case against Gorka. Gorka was like a really trashy gossip rag, and they published his private sex tape, and it led to a major privacy lawsuit. Gawker lost the trial, and a massive fine was levied against them, which ultimately bankrupted the company. And that obviously made a lot of people at Gawker very upset with Hulk Hogan. So one girl, Yvette something or another, said, so, I mean, there's always going to be someone who's really, really mean when someone dies, right? There's someone who's got beef with them, and they'll wait for them to die before they say, so they can't come after them. So this woman, Yvette, says, so, Hulk Hogan died. As a former Gawker writer, as all Gawker writers are thanks to Hulk Hogan, I won't be the first or the last to say, fuck that guy. Dance on any grave you want to, but this one's mine.
And in the meantime, he's defending his personal tape.
Yeah, which they put out there, and,
So
for clicks.
she's Delulu.
She's just a horrible person, so don't worry, because someone called Scorched Earth Policy came up after that and said, it is a testament to Hulk Hogan's greatness that even in death, he could sling one more emotional spear into the heart of a soulless, dyke haircut, ball-busting shrew with cunt eyebrows whose primary legacy was peddling muckrake bog slop for a publication that should never have been. I'm
Well done.
yeah, good for you, Hulk Hogan, and the guy who wrote that.
Yeah.
'Cause, So the T app, you'll like this. The T app is a new app that they've developed. It's very popular in America. Apparently, how it works is it's women go on there and they complain about men they've dated. They put up a picture and they say, here's the guy's face, and they give a name and they describe him. And then all the women who've ever dated him are allowed to say what is wrong with him, how bad he is, everything else. And they red flag and green flag guys and everything. And like 99% of it is red flags. And,
Yeah.
like there's one dude who's, I don't know, it's probably his current wife who's like gone on there and said, Tim is a nice guy.
Yeah. But also, you don't remember the good dates that were boring anyway.
Nah, but it just sounds to me like a really bad idea that this thing even exists.
I don't know so much. If you're in the Tinder community, for instance, it's very small in South Africa.
Yeah.
Your pool of guys, depending on what you've chosen, is very limited. And oftentimes you'll see them on other dating apps as well. And then you'll see girls who've spoken about them. I would rather be told thank you instead of going through wasting my time with somebody who wasn't going to treat me well.
Yeah, I just don't know whether you can trust other women. This is the problem, is like a lot of
If
girls...
there are enough people saying something about someone.
Yeah, but it's not as if this is vetted in any way. I mean, you could go on and just say whatever you like. Pure defamation. You could go on and say, Gareth's a rapist and an abuser. And no one is going to go on there and refute this. And I think there've got to be laws against people just spreading disinformation.
Uploading images, naming and shaming.
Saying terrible things about people, releasing private information. Like, he broke up with me on the day my gran died. He's just a piece of shit or whatever. That's innocuous. No one cares about that.
Yeah.
But, as usual, there will be people who have an axe to grind. And I just think it could, the internet's forever. I think it could be very, very dangerous. Plus, it's not as if these things are reviewed and,
investigated.
she's a 5 out of 5 poster, this woman. She's been with all the guys. She's always honest about it. It's like you could have anyone, and you also know this, as do I, that there are people in this world who, when they've broken up with somebody, they just want to destroy them.
Yeah, they become bitter.
And the reason it's 99% women is because that's how it is. Gossip is a big thing for women, and this is gossip on steroids. I mean, they can be anonymous. You don't have to give your details to them. If you do, I think you can mask yourself, and then you can go on there and just unleash about all your exes. And for many women, they've never got over their exes. So they'll go on there to just tear them apart.
But I mean, the thing is, you could do that on any platform, really, can't you, now?
Yeah, but this one is specifically designed for this. I mean, sure, you can go onto anyone's profile now and like scribble at the bottom, fuck you, you're a piece of shit or whatever. It's just, to me, it seems like the worst place for the worst people to congregate saying the worst things.
Yeah.
I don't think this is healthy at all. My Gen Z daughter listens to a lot of the millennial songs from back in my day, says Judas. Almost feels like we grew up together. As a millennial, I like late 70s and 80s. Okay. Jesse Ventura, also a wrestler, was governor of Minnesota. That's quite right. Sorry, it wasn't Hulk Hogan. Pumlani says, you can answer this, Leigh-Ann, on behalf of all women.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Why is it always women who talk shit about relationships after a breakup? Even the famous ones go on podcast tours, but you never see guys talking about relationships.
The guys don't speak good or bad about relationships. They just don't speak about relationships.
They just move on.
Yeah.
And
if
when
we're going to generalize.
Yeah, and when they're in relationships, they can't really be asked to sit there and philosophize about it with their girlfriend.
No.
I don't know anyone who goes, right, let's talk about our relationship.
They're just generally not that interested.
Yeah.
In either their own or other people's relationships.
Hey, look at us for filling in here for Dr. Hanan.
Yeah, completely.
Someone says, just by the way, on the Dr. Hanan thing, that after the Kilometers of Cock episode, it was just a matter of time before Hanan packed it in. That's called a Santos. Yeah, you're quite right. Is there a coffee app for men discussing women? This is a stupid idea, a waste of time, let it go, Riet says. No, but they wouldn't. A men's gossip thing wouldn't work where we red flagged and green flagged women. I don't think guys would participate in that. There'd be like 3 guys who'd go on there and do it.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys would be like, nah. I mean, I don't think guys even within 2 months after breaking up with you. I'm sorry, girls, this might be a horrible, hurtful, unkind thing to hear this morning on a Monday. Maybe you had a rough weekend and you broke up, but I can absolutely promise you that within 2 to 3 months, for the most sensitive guys, of them breaking up with you, they will probably not think about you again in their lives. And you'll still be like ruminating and worrying. And again, this is not true for all girls. There are going to be girls who don't care either and have moved on. And that's probably healthy in some cases. And in others, you have every right to be upset for a bit longer. But if you're still thinking about that ex and how he pissed you off 2 years ago, I can assure you that there is no man on planet Earth who is still feeling bad, thinking about, worrying for anything that happened more than 2 or 3 months ago with anyone.
You just think about it as you're sitting at a braai and you're watching 3 guys talk, and the one says, oh, no, we've broken up. And they'll go, oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. And move on.
Yeah, straight away.
Girls will want to know every single...
So what happened?
Did he cheat? Did you cheat? Everything, absolutely everything. So it's kind of generalizing again, but it's going to be that sort of space where women just kind of support each other.
And we're different, right? It's one of the things that attracts us to each other is that we're different. If men and women were the same, then it would be like going out with your guy friends. When you go and do something like dinner or a movie, or you go away on a holiday with a girl, it's different to going out with your friends. It's part of the reason you find it a little more exciting to be with the girl. Because you can have those like, the rugby was good yesterday conversations with any of your mates. And by the way, I don't know how to have those conversations, just like a lot of guys don't know how to talk about the breakup conversations or the relationship conversations. Everybody has their interests, right? And they're vastly different. I mean, there was one guy who just is obsessed with Formula One that I was talking to this weekend. And I had no area of common interest with him on that topic.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing. You know this.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Formula One. I've never watched a single race in my life. I mean, there are people who listen to this show who know this, that I'm just cuck on that subject. I can't tell you anything. Then there's someone who's really into guns, so there was a bit of an overlap there. Then there are people who are into sport generally, rugby. I can have conversations like that. And then, there are other people who are into stuff that I really couldn't give a shit about either and will never want to know about.
Like ornithology.
Ornithology, I'm actually kind of into ornithology. Like I can talk about birds because my brother's into it.
Oh, right.
And when I was a kid, I was into it. But I'm talking about how, like when Alan Ford comes in here and he talks about theater and musicals and shit like that, I'm like, just not interested. Just doesn't do anything for me. So we all have our thing. My ex occasionally phones me to give me money, says Slippery Pickle.
Oh.
But only when she needs me to fix something at her flat. A much better arrangement than when we were dating. So we've got to break this down a little. So your ex calls you to give you money and to fix something.
Yeah.
So you're like
my fridge is broken.
You're a service provider. You're a tradesman. That's what you are. That's fine.
I wonder why she doesn't just call a tradesman.
Maybe she doesn't know any good ones. Maybe Slippery Pickle's really fucking good.
So good at fixing stuff.
Can fix anything. Listen, I don't know about you, but I made the mistake a couple of weeks ago of going to one of these shops where they sell all these home kitchenware things.
Yeah.
The price of some, like a kettle, right? You would think kettle's a kettle, a couple of $100.
Yeah, I mean,
they're all
surely
the
you
same.
get bottom of the range.
Sure, you could buy a
play.
cheap ass fucking kettle with just the element that you remember those ones that would get all furry because the water was calcium rich or whatever. You could buy a cheap shit one like that. But I looked at the price of some of these things, and I mean, if something like that broke, I'd also want to call a Slippery Pickle and say, rather repair this fucking thing, because it cost me. Some of them are 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 rand for a kettle. I'm like, wow. If this thing breaks, I'm gonna mortgage the house to get it fixed. I'm not throwing that away.
It's a name thing, like
brands,
Smeg
for sure,
or whatever. Yeah.
Jay says the only reason men take note of breakups is to note that a woman has become more available. Maybe. That's bull, Gareth. You were talking about your exes last week. No. When I talk about it on the show, let me be clear. I mean, I'm not sitting around talking about my exes with my friends, and I'm certainly not thinking about them. But when we talk about it on the show, it's in reference to something that must have come up. So someone must have brought up, and I think it was that Sommelier who was in here on Wednesday. She asked me about that. So I didn't volunteer that information out of the blue. It must have been because she brought it up. That's a storyline from Pornhub. Steve says about Slippery Pickle coming to fix stuff. Hey, honey, I'm here to fix your fridge. And then he drops the tool belt, and she's like, ah. All right, very good. Bad breakups should only be discussed with a close, intimate circle, says Judas. For me, my go-to persons are my sisters. I need to vent, but not on social media platforms. That's off limits and attention-seeking. Yeah, if you ever go to social media for psychological advice, counseling, assistance with a real problem, and the first place you think that you should share this is on social media, especially things like TikTok. Oof. Very bad. Very bad. Very, very bad.
But for me, the same goes in sharing the good stuff. Remember, I said to you, I haven't even posted my photographs from my trip on Instagram. I just don't. I don't know if I see the point anymore. Maybe it's because I've been working with, brands in social media, and I'm seeing it from a brand point of view.
I agree with you. I used to, when I started on Instagram, you'll remember, I used it as an album. I put things on there because you lose photographs, you change phones. Someone showed me this weekend how you look up archived stories on Instagram. I didn't even know that was a thing, right? Again, I'm learning new shit every day, and it's so exciting. Okay? But the reason to have started Instagram in particular was because it was a place to store photos.
Yeah.
It's like your online, always available, always on photo album. And everyone has a photo album. We used to have these before the internet. You'd keep the pictures of you, your family, your friends, the experiences you've had, great places you've been. And what happened with me is I also saw that there was potential for it to be very funny and to be very entertaining. Not unlike this show, which is a reason that we got into this business in the first place. But I post stuff that I've done that's fun, the good stuff, as you call it, quite rightly. I'll post that, but I'll post it like 3-4 weeks later. When I go through my album and then I'm like, oh, shit, I haven't posted anything for ages. And then I'll post like 6 or 7 things at once. But it's mostly so I can keep a record, A. B, if it's very entertaining and funny. Or C, if I think there's something interesting about it that other people might be curious about too. So if I travel, then I'll go to places that there's a history story, there's an artifact, a statue, a building, or something that I think may impart some useful information to others.
Yes.
Then I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not like, another hard day at the office with a picture of a beach. I mean, everybody's done that, but that's not front and center in my focus either. And I mean, call me out if I've done anything boring or stupid. I wouldn't mind hearing about how, dreary that might be. You're welcome to call me out on it. Judas, it was the close, intimate circle that caused my breakup. Ooh. I had to buy myself a 14,000 Rand bread slicer. Saves time and shoulder pain. Yeah, but you make bread, Bitcoin, but that's why.
I tried to look it up online myself, but it wasn't there. There was a South African girl, Cape Townian, who had up as her background an item at Woolworths that you can buy online or in store. And it's one of those prosciutto, but the whole leg. Like you would see in Spain or whatever, like an 8-kilogram leg on one of those wooden carving devices and a knife for 9,999 Rand.
Wow.
From Woolies.
And you can buy this just for carving prosciutto.
You get the 8-kilogram prosciutto as well.
Oh, okay.
It's the leg that you're buying, basically.
Because I saw a video the other day on social media of some guy buying the entire Parmesan cheese.
Oh, yes.
And the owner of the shop, an Italian guy, is like, no, you don't take the whole thing. We take some out for you.
Yes.
You're not meant to take the whole wheel of cheese.
Well, this, I suppose, would be, I don't know, everyone was asking who the target market is. And I suppose if you were having something really fancy, like catering or something like that, then you would.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then somebody went and worked out, because you can buy slices of prosciutto in a 70-gram pack, worked out that if you bought enough of those, you actually save about 250 Rand by buying the whole leg.
Right.
But who needs
That's
8
a lot
kilograms
of
of ham?
That's a huge amount of ham. I think you need to explain that to the police.
Yeah.
No reason to have that much ham.
So I did look online. It wasn't available, but it might be a Cape Town thing, and it might be to do with that new Woolworths that they've opened, which is more like a deli. I think that's where you would get it from.
You find these stores where they have such specialized things, and it's getting more and more niched, and there are super, super rich people who are only interested in these products, and there's a place that sells those products just to those 25,000 super rich people in South Africa, and they compete for it. I mean, there are places where this stuff is all you want. Franschhoek in the Cape is just, I don't think there's anyone who isn't looking for the most expensive stuff there. And I mean, I probably there are poor people in Franschhoek, who knows? But there are a hell of a lot of very wealthy people too.
Yeah.
The Palm guy was a skit, apparently. This is according to Bitcoin, but it was a guy making rich millennial memes. Okay, so it might be nonsense. Luckily, those animals don't have arms. It would cost you an arm and a leg.
Shame.
Well, all right, let's just look at a couple of stories in the news, because we've got 10 minutes or so to go until we break at 7. And by the way, guess who makes a return star appearance this morning?
I know who.
You know who? No, not him. Not him. We're not having him in as a guest.
He's the meth monk, isn't he?
No, that guy is. Yeah, that's not a guy you want in your presence anywhere. If you see him like a kilometer away on satellite, you run. But we've got Candice Barry coming back in. Candice Jansen, the chief strategist and storyteller for water. Remember we spoke to her before. The water sommelier?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
And the reason we've got to talk about this is because her channel's just blown up. She's doing amazing work on there. Through her own consultancy, she also shapes strategy, messaging, and narratives for companies aiming to approach water with integrity and impact. So there's an environmental aspect to this that we haven't covered, and we thought we'd talk a little bit about the philosophy of taste and what taste is like for different people. I have a friend who can't smell at all.
Like since COVID or before?
Since birth.
Oh.
And he can't smell, so he doesn't smell bad things like farts, but he also can't smell good things like perfume. So he's upset.
Missing out on a lot.
I know. That's what I was thinking. But we'll talk to Candice about this in a short while. So that's coming up. But let me quickly get to this for you. Because there are some... Oh, James, do you want to do sport now? Maybe we get that out of the way. Can you do a 5-minute sport? All right, bring it in here. Let's get it on. All right, yeah. No, don't worry. Flex won't destroy him. Okay. Oh, my God.
He's got to do a lot of things.
Look at James,
He's
the
a
dog.
multitasker.
Candice, the guest, is here. He's worried about
sport,
oh, my God.
You know?
All right. Forget it. Forget about the sport. We'll get to it in the next hour. Apparently, Gauteng's old age homes remain unused, 2 of them. They built 2 state-of-the-art old age homes in Gauteng and Tembisa, okay? And they spent millions on construction and maintenance.
And corruption.
And, of course, corruption.
The corruption fee.
Yeah. There's a corruption fee, which was the number one thing that had to be paid.
Yes.
But they're waiting. Like in Tembisa, this one is apparently amazing. They've got the most wonderful rooms. They've got frail care facilities. They've got employment things so that people are busy inside of the old age homes. That there's stuff to do. They've got nurses. They've got everything lined up, but they've never opened them because of corruption. Yeah, always corruption.
So even though there was a corruption fee,
they just didn't bring the corruption. Yeah. So we can't sort it out. So apparently also unemployed residents in Tembisa are eager for job opportunities at the old age home. Communities are calling for urgent action to get the homes fully operational and provide essential care for the elderly without further delays. And of course, I suppose you could say that the old people are a sustainable resource. There are always going to be more old people. But some of these old people have been waiting for their place in the old age home for years now, and nothing's ever happened.
I think maybe the government officials' family will first go in, obviously.
Well, you would think that they'd at least open it, but it hasn't even been opened. I saw this in the news yesterday. It's very disturbing. All right, let's get to some sport. What do we got, James?
Hello. Not an awful lot from this weekend.
Okay, well, then make it quick.
I will. There was WAFCON this weekend, the final.
No one cares.
I know.
That's the women's
Nigeria won it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Let me add something to this. Every time I turn on TV news, there's some fucking story about women's soccer, and I know that no one cares. So why do they keep putting it on TV? Did anyone go to the stadium?
Probably not.
No. Does anyone know the name of one of our South African players? One. Leigh-Ann?
I don't know the name of a South African man player either.
James?
Nope.
Flex? No, neither do I. So I'm sorry, all the women who went off to WAFCON, and good for you. Well done. Nobody gives a fuck. Let's move on.
Something that you might not care about also was the women's Euro 2025 final that took place this weekend. England beat Spain. That was their back-to-back trophy. That's all I'll say on that, because it's also...
Spain were the previous champions.
They were the world champions.
World champions.
These were for the Euros, which is now the European champions, there was Formula 1 this weekend. Is that something you care about? That was in Belgium.
No, he doesn't care about that.
Not even a little bit.
And let me guess, you're also going to bring up Tour de France, which I also don't care about.
Oh, that was really cool to watch.
I will, but I got to finish Formula 1 first.
Wasn't it the 50th anniversary of the Tour de France?
May have been.
I couldn't tell you. I
think
can
it
tell you
was.
it's very exciting, though.
At some big party in Paris.
It was the Pogacar guy that took
Who?
the yellow jersey.
Pogacar.
Spoke about this guy for 3 weeks.
P-O-G...
I'm gonna pretend I paid attention all the other times.
Took the yellow jersey. There was a British and Irish Lions
He
series
didn't take
that
the
happened.
stage, though. It was a Belgian who took the stage
You're
yesterday,
right.
which was really amazing to watch.
British and Irish Lions tour happened. Australia versus the British and Irish Lions. They won their second game, and they've clinched the series. And that was sport this weekend.
Okay.
Very short, sharp, and to the point.
So I missed absolutely nothing.
Not this weekend, but football is almost back, so life has meaning.
You're like men's football that
That's
people
what I
will
mean.
watch.
That's exactly what I mean, yes. Yes, yeah, the real football.
And by the way, it's not because I think, women are shit at this. I just don't think anyone watches it. It's like the WNBA in America. Like, people just don't watch. Until a star comes along, like Caitlin Clark in America is a big star in WNBA. She has made it interesting. She's brought a lot of fans to it, men and women, who are watching it in numbers that before were just impossible to believe. It can be better, but you need stars.
It's true. I mean, you look at women's tennis.
Women's tennis, great example.
Yeah.
So nobody goes, women's tennis is bullshit.
Yeah.
Everybody knows names like the Williams sisters, like Maria Sharapova, like
Going back, Steffi Graf.
Yeah, I mean, these Steffi Graf, even all the way back to Martina Navratilova, for God's sake. So it's been years of building up names that matter, that are where the women's version of it is as exciting as the men's version. But this propagandistic bullshit of like, we've got to pay attention to Banyana. I guarantee you, the average South African, just stop people on the street. They'll never do this on TV, by the way. They'll have the sports presenters going, and Banyana did so well this weekend. And you hear crickets in the background, and even the guy who wrote the script for the sports is like making coffee in the kitchen because he couldn't give a shit. And they're trying hard to sell this thing to you. But if you go out into the street and you actually interview people, you say, name one Banyana. It happened when I had Lebang on the show once, remember? And she was like, oh, it's so important that we support our women's football. And then after listening to her natter on for 5 minutes about women's football, all of which was kind of the same stuff everyone says on sport, then I said to her, because I was just exhausted by that point, I was like, well, name a Banyana player. And she couldn't do it. And she was a big fan, supposedly. So people are just got to stop with this. It'll become a thing when we get a star.
As members of the Gareth Cliff Show, we can be proud on the fact that a few weeks ago we did learn who at least the coach of the women's team was.
Desiree Ellis.
There you go. So we at least know that. We've got some pride in our
Because
country.
they shove this shit down my throat every time I turn on the TV. Anyway, Gareth, why do you ever even let James do sports if all you do is piss over him? I'll piss over you if you're not careful, just plain Jared. Don't fuck with me on a Monday. All I want to know is if any... Signet says the most expensive women's transfer is 1 million in British pounds. Men's over 200 million. It tells you that women's football is inferior by at least a factor of 200. It's not about comparing apples and whatever women's football is, but I don't think that it's doing anyone any service by people pretending they're the same, because they're just not. Another great thing to discuss, and we've probably got to do this at some point, is those WNBA players who were wearing shirts the other day saying, pay us what we're owed. Did you see this story?
To a company that's never turned a profit.
Yeah, so a lot of these WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association, players were walking around in black T-shirts with white writing on them saying, pay us what we're owed. And I thought, ooh, that's a dangerous strategy for them to undertake, because technically the WNBA runs at a loss, so they should be paying in.
Correct. Yeah.
Sure.
Because it's such a shit show, right?
For as long as the WNBA has been around, they've never turned a profit.
They've always made a loss. So, who's filling these girls' heads with like fairy tales about how they should be earning lots of money for something no one wants to watch or support or care about? Anyway, lots of fun. Let's take a look here. Kala says, how much would a subscription model be to fund the Gareth Cliff Show to go on with 5 shows a week? Surely we're all willing to fund him. there's no amount of money you could pay me to do that. We're not going back. We're going forward. Soon, 1 show a week, 3 hours, 1 show, 1 live show a week. But we are going to be doing, just to make you feel better, interviews separately, where I'll be interviewing people, really, really cool, really interesting, amazing people from all over the world. And those will be interview specials. And then we've got things like Blind History starting. We've got a whole raft of brand new shows that are coming to the Real Network. So don't panic. There'll be plenty for you to watch and listen to. I wouldn't leave you high and dry. I mean, we've got great guests like Candice, who's going to be with us just now. I'm very excited to have her back on the show, and lots to talk about. So, anything else you want to say, James?
I
don't
not
think
really.
so. All right,
really.
thanks.
Took a while to think about it.
Just bring your dog quickly.
Please.
We've
Okay,
just
give
got
me
to
one
show
sec.
I miss
because
him
people-
already, and I only met him an
Yeah.
hour ago.
This is James's dog called Winston, who's a miniature Dachshund.
No, it's ridiculous. He's
So cute.
He's just
And blue eyes.
oh,
Huh?
just
Very,
makes
very
me
cute.
makes me broody for
So
a dog.
The one stupid game that we ended up playing over the weekend, it wasn't really a game, it was just something that came up, is like trying to figure out what everyone would be if they were a dog.
Like what
You ever
breed?
done that? Yeah, like what breed of dog would you be?
Yeah.
And I cannot remember what my breed of dog was that they said I was. But there was everything except a little Dachshund. Look how cute that is. Can you focus in on that, Flex? Oh, man. That is the cutest little dog. How old is he, James? 7 weeks.
He's so tired.
Oh,
Watch
there's a
him
little
yawn.
tongue. Oh.
Come here, little guy.
You can't put him there because we can't see him. Lift him up.
He's too little.
Lift him up. Leigh-Ann, put him up against the white of your jersey, then we can show him off
Little.
properly. What a cute puppy. All right, so there we go. There's your bit of cuteness for the morning after all the ugliness of me. And when we come back, we'll have Candice to regale us with some stories about how important and how lovely and how interesting water is. And it fucking is. So I can't wait to have her tell us all of that just now. Don't go anywhere.
You know what you need right now? That's right, the next installment of our famous Sports Greatest Photos show. Just when you thought you may have seen it all already, Part 3 dishes up 10 more photos and 10 more sensational stories. From back when England were world champions of football, through to the day our planet almost shifted off its axis because of a slip catch. It's an action-packed hour of sports like you have never seen before. It's episode 58 of The On The Bounce Show. Let's get into it.
You hesitate, but and I hesitate. If you hesitate, I go back. We all want to hesitate.
Yes, Bongi.
Hello.
How are you, Bongi?
I'm good.
You okay?
Yeah, I am.
Bongi. And then you are sleeping.
Yes.
Phela mina ngiyinsizwa mina. Ngiyinsizwa.
Necessary. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the second hour of this morning's show. We got Leigh-Ann Moll here. We also have Candice, the water sommelier, back, and she's got the puppy, so she's very excited. Isn't a puppy just? It makes everything better, right?
It's so lovely.
Oh man,
Actually, if you told me that he was going to be here, I
you
would
would
have come earlier.
you would have come earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Well, you get to have the puppy there with you for as long as the puppy wants to be there. You know, they also have a say.
He looks like he's on the go though.
But it's amazing to me how the only thing I miss when I leave home is the dog.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, all the other stuff I'll get to eventually. You know, worry about, you don't care about your house plants. You don't care about the things even. Some of the things that we were talking earlier about these expensive items of kitchenware
Yes.
that people spend an absolute fortune on. And I'm sure you've got
Although
some stories.
there is there are two things that you might miss.
What?
And you hear it often when people travel.
What?
Oh, miss my bed.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or my shower.
Yeah, sure.
They're those.
Yeah.
And then, but you see, I have cats, as you know, and they punish you for a day or two. So you've
they
got to
ignore
get
you
through
and they're
that
angry
when
with
you
you.
get back. Yes.
But when you got
Cats.
a cat, that's expected, right? You like anticipate that kind of behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. Appear absolutely ambivalent to the fact that you're home
Yeah.
and ignore you for 2 days in order to punish you.
Make you suffer.
And then they might give you a purr if you're lucky.
So listen, we were talking about kitchens and these extraordinarily expensive kitchen appliances. I think about our conversation the last time you were here often, because every time I make carbonated water, I remember you describing how
Yeah.
there are different kinds of fizziness
Yes.
in water. And I found this is how ridiculous this stuff is, and it sticks in your head. I remember Candice saying that there's like I can't remember what the term was that you used, but I now make the stuff in a soda stream thing, right? And then I shake it once,
Yeah.
and then it's a much more
An
effervescent fizz than it
Yes.
is a bubbly fizz.
Yeah. So it's not
And-
big and bold and
Yeah, I
classic.
love that. And it
Yeah.
feels almost like champagne rather than like Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
It makes sense, right?
And a lot of popular water brands are going effervescent.
Yeah.
So we will go to a restaurant, we'll say it's flat or it's going flat, but it was actually designed to be that way.
So I also think about when I go to the shops, I think about all these expensive brands that are now available. I suppose, like with anything, in South Africa, we used to have 1 or 2 brands of sparkling water or still mineral water that used to be on the shelves. Now
Yeah.
you can go in, and there are hundreds. I saw Voss is in the country now. I
Yes.
saw,
They're also doing Voss Plus Aquaman. Which is
what's
quite-
that?
So they came out with this Voss Plus Aquaman. So it's the original Nordic water plus added minerals and electrolytes for taste. So not natural anymore, not Mother Nature made, but original water with added minerals. And I thought this was quite I thought it was a bit dodgy because it's essentially purified water as a base.
Right.
So that means you could use any water source across the country if it's purified and then add the same recipe to create Voss plus Aquaman. And I think that was a move on their part to expand Voss and use local water sources under the same brand name, just keeping to the mineral profile so that it tastes the same.
Okay, so let's just update everyone because they must be thinking we've all gone insane. You have been, and you've established yourself now as the ultimate water expert.
Yes.
And really, I don't think anyone else comes close. You've got this channel that's doing extremely well. People love what you do because it's such a specialized area. And frankly, everybody drinks water. So you should know about this stuff. And it's a fascinating subject.
Yeah.
I don't care who disagrees with me. That this is about the most important substance on earth, as far as I'm concerned.
And I've tried to make it fun for people. So if you're not in that space where you consider water to be fun, I'm trying to take education and entertainment and find that perfect
I think you're
blend.
doing it. I think you're
Thank you.
like you're hitting all the marks. Okay,
You know what else could make it fun is talking about the bad stuff you find in water. Like we were just mentioning that I had barley belly recently, and that was from out of the habit, even though they give you mineral, maybe filtered water to brush your teeth with. Out of habit, I forgot to.
Oh, goodness.
And I got very, very ill for 2
Crazy.
or 3 days.
Yeah.
And that's due to bacteria in water.
Disgusting, right?
Mm.
Yeah. And it just goes to show you how bad that bacteria is because your stomach is designed to be acidic, as we know. And at a certain pH level, that actually breaks down pathogens in your water and your food. So how bad is that bacteria if your stomach
be
acid
awful.
cannot kill it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe this is also an apposite time to have you on the show because I've got back into my chemical laboratory at home, right? And I haven't been paying attention to it for the longest time. I sort of was inspired by a couple of YouTube videos I saw of people in chemistry who are doing really cool stuff. Anyway, what made me think that it was also a good idea to have you in here is I tried for the first time, I think I may be wrong here, but it's probably one of the few waters you might not have tried because it's purely a chemical thing. But have you ever tasted heavy water?
No.
So heavy water is
I think we spoke about this. Actually, you mentioned it last time.
H2O, right? Just
Yeah.
like normal water, but it's D2O. The D being hydrogen with an extra neutron in it. So at an atomic level, it's different. And it does weigh more than normal water, but it's negligible. I mean, it's very, very small. But the difference, it's a little bit sweet, but it's chemically different because it's got this extra neutron in every hydrogen atom.
Do you think that contributes to the sweetness level?
I don't know. Maybe it was a bad sample. You never really know with these things. But to
Do
me,
you know
it
if I'd
did
be
taste.
drinking things I made in a lab?
It did taste. No, I didn't make it in the lab. I bought it for the lab. And it's
you made
expensive. But
I think
but
we
I
need to oversee
I
this.
tasted a couple. I tasted a couple of drops of it. I knew it wasn't going to be dangerous or deadly. But I suddenly thought, oh my God, there's a whole other range of things because you could technically you could make tritium water, which would be hydrogen with 2 neutrons in. It's in the 2 atoms of hydrogen per molecule of water. But again, there's no end to how you could make this stuff exciting. And
No,
you seem to
there
be
really
doing a
isn't.
lot of it.
Yeah, and even on my journey, I mean, I learned so much all the time, different avenues and directions of conversations that I could bring to the table. Because one thing dives into another. So there's always water plus environment and water plus people and water plus business, and it's endless. So when I say that water is everybody's business, there's literally not a scope of even here, that does not touch water at some point
Absolutely.
that you are impacted by.
We have filtered water in the office that they bring in those big blue kind of
Yes.
Yeah.
bottles.
Yes.
I've got this water here today, and I haven't had it before. Does it look familiar?
No, it doesn't. But it looks like it's just contract packaged for whoever
Yeah, because
Spartan.
a lot of companies do this, right?
They do
Where-
that, and
yeah.
I can't blame them because there is money to be made and people who want to have their private label stuff done.
Sure.
But for me, it steals the source identity, so I will never do that. I've had a lot of people who wanted a collab, and it steals the source identity.
Right.
So, but as South Africans, we can actually turn the bottle around, read the label, see what it says, So in this case, you can see that the mineral content is decent, and it comes from the cradle of mankind. I'm turning it so I can see it here in the light. Yeah, it obviously just looks like it's a contract packaged.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see now. Now that I'm looking at it, Spartan, strength and honor. That
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a water slogan.
No.
Oh, it seems
yeah.
like you.
Strength and honor water.
What have you been training with the Spartans, Leigh-Ann?
Become
This
so
is Sparta!
honorable.
Okay, very good. Bitcoin But wants to, because we've got lots of questions for you here already. He wants to know, talk about microplastics in bottled water
Yes.
and the bottles themselves. I mean, someone said to me, and I know it was bullshit because I looked it up afterwards, but I want you to put us all at ease on this, is that if you have a plastic bottle and you make the mistake of leaving in the car for an hour,
Yes.
you're suddenly going to find yourself absolutely riddled with
Yes.
microplastics and the water's
true.
suddenly poisonous as hell. Nonsense.
You know what, with microplastics, I read a recent study that said chopping boards, those plastic chopping boards
Yeah.
in your kitchen, let off the most microplastics onto your food than anything else.
Yeah, would make
And
sense.
you've had it for 20 years and you're like chopping your carrots away. And you know what I don't like about the microplastics issue with water is that people identify it as a water issue. It's not a water issue. Water is not the single-handed carrier of microplastics.
Yeah.
So we look at it in a bottle and say, okay, well, we don't want a plastic bottle. But a lot of these products are food-grade plastics. They're not going to transfer between the water and the bottle in an hour of you. It would take years to do that, years.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
also there's also glass. Some companies are doing glass, but then they do a plastic cap. And that contributes equally. So it's not even a water issue, this microplastics. Water, though, as we know even with the media recently, carries everything.
Of course.
And it's obviously transparent, so it's easier to test for versus other things. But it's not a water
and
issue.
it's a solvent for so many other things. People drink water when they take their vitamins, even if it's not put in artificially by the water manufacturer.
Yeah.
People
Yes.
drink water while they're eating. Water is probably the most common drink people have on a daily basis, or should have. It would be a hell of a lot safer than all these sugary drinks that people are having.
Yeah, it was different in the 90s. Let's just say that much.
Well, we used to drink from the hose pipe.
Yes, we drink from the hose pipe, but also we didn't take water to school and we didn't get water at school.
No, and
Really?
okay, so let me
No.
ask you about
Wow.
this quickly.
We had
because
one
this is-
one carton of cordial, sugar cordial.
Yeah, it's usually oros or something.
That's what you would
right?
have for the whole day.
And it was super dilute oros. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
mine
yeah.
was. Okay, but what is with everybody carrying a water bottle around?
It's very much on trend.
Yeah, it's
Which
like
is
a
great, right? Because we've got Stanleys and we've got all these things.
Sure.
So that's great. But I always say to people, if you're going to be drinking this 2 liters a day, what are you drinking? Because no one considers what's actually in the water. So now are you increasing your intake of all the viruses and bacteria that you don't actually know are in there, or even medicine? And they're like, oh, didn't give it any thought. It's just about the trend of how much rather than what is the quality of that how much.
Okay, I want to get into the environmental stuff in a moment or two with you because I do think that's fascinating. But what would be different if we saw your kitchen? I mean, you're making all of this amazing stuff. Do you have a fancy water filter?
Yes.
Do you have equipment that you use because you're making these amazing videos? Or do you
No.
just regular
Actually,
stuff?
It's so easy. Once you know and have like the basic information of water when it comes to filtration as well, what you want to take out, what you want to leave in, it's so easy. I don't spend hours trying to perfect my water every day. I have really good filtration. I know what it does and I know what it doesn't do. I know what it takes out, what it leaves behind. And that gives me that security. So I feel like I can go about my day. I use it for the kettle. I use it for us. It's not a big thing. Once you've sorted that part of your home out, you feel safeguarded.
Okay, but it seems to me there's an obvious gap in the market here because a lot of these water companies are kind of, to be unkind, they're water. They're just middle of the road. Nobody really cares. You should launch something like this. You've built credibility up.
Yeah.
It would be an obvious thing to me to walk into a store and see a brand of water that you have curated, because that's the word
Gareth,
that
you know
everyone
I
uses
will
now.
not do it.
Why won't you do it?
Because I know how difficult water is. I have seen the back end. Water is the most difficult beverage to get right
Oh
in
my
the
God.
world. There is no ways that I would even attempt that. And I look at people who've been in the industry for 10, 20 years and they still face challenges because water's changing all the time. And I look at that and I was like, there's not a chance that I
Really?
would
Okay.
get into water
That's such a waste.
from a
'cause
supply
I think
perspective.
you'd make a fortune out of it. People would go, oh, well, this is... all right, so naturally filtered water from Serbia is what barely vocal media drinks. Voda water.
Oh, water. Yeah.
Jesus.
Water.
Okay.
VOTA or
I just
something.
filled my new pool using the only
Yeah.
tap in my house that doesn't run through a filtration system. The water was green. Thank God my water's filtered, says Carl. So
Yeah.
for people who don't have a filter,
Yes.
are there ways of doing this cheaply that don't have to cost you an absolute fortune
Yeah.
so that you can still drink reasonably clean water? Because
Listen-
clean is the number one step, right?
Exactly. So it doesn't have to be expensive. If you look at big household units that cost an arm and a leg, you can get the same filtration technology in smaller units. It's the same tech. But you are going to look, I think, starting at about 400 Rand, and you're going to go into a pitcher, so
Yeah.
a water jug,
Right.
with cartridges that you're going to change every 4 weeks. That's going to be your closest, most cost-effective option. It doesn't have to be expensive, but there is a cost to water filtration, and I think we are in that space, and some people say, oh, we just can't afford it. And if not, then you can be buying filtered water from the water shops, but you need to ask about the credibility of their technology, what it does. How
Okay, now
good are they doing
what
it.
about things you can add to it? You mentioned just now that they've, for example, the Voss, they've
Yes.
started to add their own minerals and vitamins.
Yes, because hydration comes from minerals. The water carries the hydration
Yeah,
elements, right?
right.
Not water alone. So water plus minerals is very important. This is why purified water serves very little purpose, because you've got no minerals or electrolytes in that water. So you can choose to remineralize. Either you get a filter that adds back or you adding drops, or you using powders, or you taking, if you don't want to add it to your water, you can actually take mineral supplements in liquid form.
I mean, people want, what do they call these, the drinks that they have where the whole purpose of it is to rehydrate you in the mornings after you've woken up or whatever.
So you just add those minerals back, and it just shows you how important they are.
But what about other things? Like I'm thinking gases. Have we not developed a way of making, instead of carbonated drinks, oxygenated drinks? I mean, I do know that there are people who want to bubble ozone through their water.
Yeah.
There are people who put
But ozone
hydrogen
is for
in
safety.
there. Okay.
Yeah, hydrogen is. But I mean, you've got to look at these studies. I always try and revert back to what nature does. If Mother Nature doesn't make a pH 10 water, and
Probably not a good idea to drink it.
You've got to use a machine to get to that place, then should we be doing that? Is there any credibility in high alkaline water? You know, like again, your stomach is designed to be acidic, and now we're trying to alkalize your body, and I'm like, I don't know if that's quite adding up.
No, it's probably bullshit.
So there's a lot of stuff that people will say there's studies to, and they're trying this and trying that, but I think those sort of like fizzle out after time. It's not something I would attempt.
What new things have you discovered since we last had a chat? Because you're always paying attention to what's going on. First of all, in the commercial realm. Second of all, in the realm of where people find their water, where on earth there are new things being discovered. But there is a lot of science to this. And I suppose there's also a lot of ridiculousness going on because people are always trying to pull the wool over each other's eyes and say they've discovered some amazing health benefits in usually something that seems to be natural.
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, you know, the people in this village in Japan have lived an extra 50 years. Therefore, it must be something there's something in the water, right?
I think it's more a matter of what's not in their water. Because the closer we live together and we have all these issues going on, we forget that we're interconnected in so many ways. And there's actually so much in your water. And I think in the further, like the blue zones, they live further apart, their water sources are more protected. So potentially they could be living longer, but they don't have stuff in their water.
You know, I've got a bean to cup machine for coffee at home, and it runs through a water filter.
Yes.
And I often wonder how regularly I should be replacing that. You just said now, in a pitcher jug, for example, where they have the water filter as part of it, you have to replace that every 4 weeks.
Every 4 weeks. You actually have to set the date in your calendar. I do that.
Yeah.
You must remind yourself.
Okay, so
some of them have little dials on them that you can set the date. Like, do that religiously. Don't extend that and say, I'm trying to save money, get an extra 2 weeks.
Okay, so you got to be very disciplined about these things. What do you do, Ass?
Yeah, I've got a Brita filter.
Yeah.
With the little cartridge, but I certainly don't change it every 4 weeks. But you've actually got to put it, even if it does have a calendar reminder on it, you need an alarm to warn you.
You do.
Yeah.
I try and remember to change mine on the 29th of every month, give or take. And I think maybe if you want to adopt the 29th day principle, then at least you
every
can.
month.
Every month. But
Sounds
you see
like
what
a
I mean?
lot.
Like, so many people will focus on other rituals and things,
Yeah,
but the
okay.
water, you just like,
I suppose you're right.
Yeah.
Carl says, 400 Rand, I spent 40K, but it was mostly so I can have 5,000 liters of water. So if there's an outage, I'm unaffected. So how has, because you're paying attention to these things probably at a level that the rest of us are not, how has things like, you know, the water outages we've had in Joburg recently, how has that affected people's lives and maybe even the quality of water? Because we hear part of it is that Rand Water is replacing pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're trying to
maintenance is
upgrade the
big.
system. They're trying to keep up with, you know, all the unattended parts of Joburg's
But they're so
infrastructure.
proud when they complete the maintenance on time. They're like, we've completed it on
Well,
time. We've like, people
I
are
know,
like, really?
and we have to go.
Please
oh,
congratulate
we must go.
us
Well done
on our job, doing
Yeah.
our job.
No, we must. We must say to them, "Well done, you guys are so clever," because we do want that to work.
And it makes me
Yeah.
wonder as well, because I had some old pipes dug up once, and when they were pulled out, they were so corroded. And I thought, that's what I'm drinking, number one. Number two, I was part of this big water outage that we had recently. And I've always wondered, because when the water comes back and you're putting it into a clear bottle, because I put mine into clear bottles and chill those before I filter them. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing that, but it's just easier.
Yeah, before you filter it, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously through a clear bottle, when the waters come back, you can see it looks milky, but that eventually subsides.
Yes, so that's just air.
It's just air, right?
It's just air. Remember, our pipelines are under pressure all the time. Even your fridge will have a regulator on it, especially if it's connected to an inlet, to manage that pressure change during the night and daytime. So it pretty much just is air. There's obviously maintenance that's happened, and now the air is rushing through the system again. And you'll see it fizzes out almost instantly. But that obviously is not a chlorine issue. Chlorine will have to wait a bit for it to dissipate. Right. But it's not something to be scared of, because even if you put that through a filter, you might still have that air element. Because mine goes through the filter, and it still comes out like that, and it's still going to settle in and come through.
What are the things you're most worried about when you see it on the label? Chlorine, you just mentioned now. What's a safe level of chlorine?
When you say label...
Yeah, okay. Again, are they telling the truth?
Well, are we talking about tap water? Because
no, let's say bottled that we buy.
Bottled water is not going to have chlorines in it.
None.
Unless it's coming from the municipal tap water. But if you're filtering it out, it'll take the chlorine out. But from a tap water perspective, we have chlorines and chloramines that are used to treat tap water for safety, for public safety, which is 100% fine. We've done that for decades. But those are chemicals. So I don't consider tap water ready to use in any shape or form. If I can take that out with filtration, why would you not opt to do that?
Yeah.
So that for me is a concern that people are quite happy. Chlorine, a lot easier to get rid of. You can boil it, put it in the fridge, high surface area, it'll dissipate. But chloramines are more difficult to take out. And although, again, it's safe water, that doesn't mean that it's quality water. So when I look at that, I'm like, but do we have to... Are people really just accepting that as...
I mean, we know there are places in South Africa where you can't drink the tap water at all. I mean,
How
if you
sad
do,
is
it's
that?
very dangerous. Like places like Witbank or Middelburg or...
Someone's saying
wherever.
Potch, you can't drink the water at all.
Oh, apparently there as well. Yeah, Secunda. Wherever they've got like mines and power stations and that kind of thing. Because the heavy metals in there are just very, very dangerous,
Crazy,
right?
So if the water's being treated at the treatment facility, it still has to travel in that pipe that's maybe 500 years old.
Well, I mean, in ancient Rome, part of the reason that they say that the Roman Empire declined was because of the lead piping.
Yeah.
Because they used lead. That's where the word plumbing comes from. Plumbum, lead.
Oh, right.
Right? And they used lead piping, and lead salts are quite toxic, especially after, you've spent 20 years drinking water that comes out of lead pipes. So even though they had aqueducts and fountains and public water systems, the lead got into the water, and they reckon it just made people mad after generations of drinking from there.
And water's always changing.
Yeah.
And I think we're learning that now because, I mean, in 1800s, that seems like forever ago, but it really wasn't. It was the first time that they had a massive cholera outbreak. And they didn't know that water could even carry waterborne disease until everybody got sick. And they were like, what's happening? And they traced it back to an old pumping station that had never been cleaned. But just like dispensing water into everybody's home.
I can so see us just leaving a certain water station unclean for a couple of years and a horrible outbreak of some shit coming out.
So if people ask, because a lot of people ask about those dispensers in these shopping centers or like the grocery stores, those, like, depending on who's filtering it, like, I will never use one of those.
You won't.
I won't, because I don't know the guy who's coming to clean that thing.
Right.
I have gone to one that's been green. And I'm like, there's no ways. And some people are like, I had a guy say, I service those things and we do such an amazing job. And I'm like, then why is it green? There should never be algae at the bottom of water anything. I won't do it.
Okay, so my cartridge, Underdog, says lasts a year, and I know I have certified clean mineralized water at home.
Stunning.
How do you know? I mean, I'm interested. Please ask your guest to speak into the mic. That is what it's there for. Okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's facing us.
In saying that, I've never projected well.
No, it's not you. This is not a you thing.
Oh, okay.
I once checked my chlorine levels in my water. It had none, says Grant. Well, good for you.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing.
No chlorine at all?
Chlorine is supposed to disinfect water. So if there is chlorine in the system and it's coming out on your end, that's a good sign that the system works.
Isn't sodium fluoride okay, that's not a heavy metal slippery pickle. They add fluoride to our water in certain places because it helps in building enamel on teeth.
Yeah. And we spoke about this last time, and
I
our
remember that.
solution was quite simple, that what you don't want in your water, you have the capacity to remove
Yeah.
by filtration.
Right.
You don't have to accept any of that.
So don't sit there and work on conspiracy theories
Yes,
when you can work
exactly.
on your water filtration.
Exactly.
Please ask if you've heard of Vader Austin's work on water, which is fascinating, says Anne Margaret.
What is that?
I don't know who Vader Austin is, but maybe you can tell us, Margaret. Also, do you believe in a pH machine attached to a tap?
No. I don't. Again, for the simple reason that you've got to use an ionizer, which is that pH machine, to change the water where they split the ions.
Yeah, and if you do that, you end up with essentially deionized water at the end of it, which is just plain H2O. There's nothing in it.
Exactly.
There are no other benefits to it. Doesn't have a taste, doesn't have a smell,
And the
doesn't have
purpose of that
anything.
is to what? To alkalinize your body.
Well, unless you have a chemical laboratory, what do you want ionized water for?
I don't know. But you know what? People are on this thing high pH during the week.
Yeah,
But then on the weekend,
I don't get it either because your body needs acids and alkalis. And the funny thing about your body, this just sounds like an obvious thing, and I suppose I'll get some shit from people for it. You don't have to be a doctor to know this, but your body is a laboratory for creating all kinds of things. You have the capacity to create alkaline and acidic salts and solvents all the time. You can make those things. If your body's working properly, you should be able to generate all of these chemicals.
but at the exact right levels. Like your body maintains that. So no amount of any high pH water you're going to introduce, in my opinion, is going to change any of that.
No, and as you said just now, you swallow it anyway. It doesn't go into your bloodstream directly.
No.
So it has to go through your stomach, which is concentrated hydrochloric acid, for God's sake.
Yes, I would prefer everything to be eaten there before it goes anywhere
Correct.
else and trying to make it.
And if you
neutral.
add an alkali to an acid, you get a salt and a neutral solvent.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why people fall for this crap. It's the same for vitamins and minerals. Once your body has the constituent parts in it, it can make those things. But you can't, if you've had 15 magnesium tablets in a day, there's only so much your body needs. The rest is
No,
going
it's
to be
gonna get rid
sent
of the
right
rest.
through.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I highly doubt that they filter the seawater. It needs proper desalination. I don't think a filter is enough to make it drinkable. So they're talking here about desalination.
Desalinated water.
Yeah.
So that tech is always changing as well. We can see in Saudi that they're trying to develop tech that's record low cost as well,
Yeah.
with zero negative effects to the environment. And that process is very expensive as it stands. They are doing that in Cape Town at the moment as a backup water source.
Because isn't it true that ultimately the destination for all water is the sea?
Yeah, rivers will flow back into the ocean.
And
vice versa.
ultimately everything that's dissolved in water will end up in the sea as well.
Yeah.
So the sea is the final end point, right?
But filtration, I mean, if we're looking, the sea, I would say, in terms of total dissolved solids, probably about 18,000, depending where you're at. We're finding that once it's gone through desalination, it's sitting around 400 in terms of TDS with really good technology. Even 400 is high. I mean, you don't want that high sodium content. So we're finding if you introduce that into the system, homes that didn't have such high sodium waters before, hard waters before, now have that.
Right.
That also poses an issue.
Is it the sodium that makes it hard or soft water?
Sodium doesn't necessarily make it. Magnesium will make it softer,
Okay.
but sodium will increase the total dissolved solids count,
Okay.
but not necessarily make the water harder.
Surely algae purifies water. It must be growing on something, says Chris.
Yeah, I just hear crickets. I'm not sure where algae would even come into this, but we shouldn't be drinking water from there.
Okay, Huname Mus, that's the name apparently. I used a luxury 3-step water filter that I attached to my tap, and it was causing abdominal cramps. I was vomiting, gassy, crampy, felt like I was dying, something like acute pancreatitis. Not from your filter, surely.
Listen, remember, technologies are different. So and I'll be careful with this question, but when you have filtration, the more it costs doesn't mean the better it does.
Mm-hmm.
right? You can have good technology that's cheaper versus high. And in that case, I think people are just relying on a 3-stage filter, and perhaps the water is actually worse than you think it is, and it probably needs better tech.
My first question would be, do you live in Witbank? Because that would be the first sign. I mean, there are things that you really got to look out for. Someone mentioned mercury in here as well. But obviously, I think step one has to be bacteria.
Yeah.
Step one has to be living things.
I mean, anything that you test for, you're more than likely going to find. But there are some things that are more important than the others, and we need to look at those. So bacteria, viruses, things that would cause waterborne disease.
Yeah.
Heavy metals, which you can take out. Fluoride, if you insist.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but also, I'm so big for maintaining minerals in water.
Yeah.
You know? So if you are going to take everything out, if you're so scared, at least remineralize the water.
All right, so let's just talk about the stuff that you're doing in terms of helping companies to understand how water behaves environmentally and what it means because they're all trying to be responsible, and I get this, right? There's a lot of this ESG stuff. Oh, big time.
A lot of greenwashing.
But there are companies where there's actually a person who sits in an office and worries about the environmental sustainability of their 1,500 square meter office in Rosebank. Yeah. I mean, this is actually what they do.
Yeah.
For instance, my office has those loos that use mainly air when you flush. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh, yes, yeah.
No.
They save water.
Got a clear lid, number one, so there are no surprises. Which
Good
is great.
heavens, okay.
And then you have to touch the handle, which is a highly sanitized little orange strip. Do what you need to do, and as you close it, this massive suction comes up like in an airplane, and uses 5 liters less than a normal flush.
It's like a vacuum.
Yeah,
They're actually
it sucks everything out of there.
Well, I'm going to have to come and use your lavatory.
It's quite scary. The ground shakes when this thing flushes.
You clearly haven't been to a shopping center in a while, because I think a lot of them have these new
Really?
ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All for saving water. But in sort of a workspace, there is, I mean, you could get employees to kind of adopt better water practices, but also some businesses really care about the impact of water, not necessarily the greenwashing. So I've had the opportunity to work with some of the people you'd least expect, because it looks like they've got it all together. And they come and say, please, can you help us? Because we're struggling with X, Y, and Z. So whether it be implementing good practices, because we all need to reach those sustainability development goals.
Yeah. Do we?
Not even for the planet, but for water. I'm like, I can help you on the water side because I'm so passionate about that, right?
But
Or
isn't
even if
water
it's-
like energy? It cannot be created or destroyed. I mean, in purely figurative terms, there's a water cycle. I remember learning about this as a kid. And
What did you learn at school about the water cycle?
you learn that ultimately everything ends up in the sea. Then the sea, it evaporates up into clouds. That the clouds rain it down, and then that rain fills up the streams. The streams flow into the sea, and you have the cycle repeating.
Right? And I dislike that so much for our kids growing
It's
up
true,
now.
right?
It's true, but they left out all the fun parts. They left out quality and minerals and different sources. And I'm like, you left out all the fun stuff. And we're now, I feel like most of my followers are late 30s to early 50s. Now we're learning that there's stuff in your water and the difference between pH and minerals.
So we used to drink from the hose pipe. Was that
Yeah.
bad? Because
I
maybe
don't think
maybe
then.
that's addled us.
I don't think then. Listen, in every conversation I have now, there is always that one guy who will say, I've been drinking water from the hose pipe for 50 years, I'm fine. And I'm like, okay. I can't even reply anymore. I'm just like, okay. Because ignorance is bliss.
Sure.
And I think if you see all the stuff that comes out in media about what's in your water now, if you want to do that, you do you. But the rest of it, we're not those people anymore. We're really not.
Okay, let's talk about taste, because we got onto this last time, and I'm sure you've got some updates for us on that too. So everybody has a subjective taste preference. You might like things a little more acidic, a little more alkaline, a little sweeter, a little more sour.
A lot of
Who
the
knows?
water I find when traveling, especially in Europe, is sweeter. and it's not necessarily something I like.
And the texture of it. So we spoke about hard and soft water just now. But for example, for anyone who's confused by this, if you wash your hands in hard water, it takes a lot longer for you to wash them off. Oh, no, soft water is the one that takes longer to wash off. Hard water, the soap comes off a lot more easily.
Also, the lathering up of products is different.
So that's how you would know. But the taste of it almost feels like a little more or less fluid, depending. Some people will comment that, oh, this water seems to flow differently. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's all perception.
It really is preference.
Yeah.
One of the most commonly asked questions is, what's the best water? And there isn't a best water because we have so many different. We got.
Damn it, man! Why don't you just bring out a list every month of the best waters?
That's all people want. They don't want to know for themselves.
They don't care about
it.
it.
They want an answer.
They're not interested in this chemistry we're talking about.
Not.
So just give us a list every month. Here are the best waters, and then people will go to the shops and buy them.
Yeah.
And then
you would affect the market.
Or agree.
I know, but I'm so big on people having the soft skill to make the. I'm still on that.
I hear you.
Like, please learn for yourself. They're like, please make a recommendation. I can't make a recommendation.
But are there taste preferences that are more commercially viable?
Yes, depending on where you live. Here in South Africa, we used to lower mineral waters, not necessarily sweeter waters, but lower mineral waters. If you went to Europe, they have higher mineral waters. You go to Greece. I had horrible water at breakfast because we're not accustomed to that.
Yeah, you gave us water to taste last time that had come from, I think, the southern part of Europe, and it was like you could taste all the stuff they'd added to it, or you could taste that it came from a place where that was the constituency of the water.
Yes. I think we did a few. We did ones that were found like that naturally, and then I did the world's most magnesium-rich water.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Very unpleasant.
That was high in TDS. I think it's about 8,000. And it tastes like pool water. Like, this is not nice, but it's naturally occurring magnesium. So the minerals, obviously, the higher the mineral content, the more significant the taste. So it depends. You were talking about what you miss when you leave home. When I travel, I cannot wait to actually go back home. I can't wait to come home because I know the water here.
Yeah,
I know it.
It's what you're used to.
That's what I like. I found myself in New York with no water filter and only the tap I was not happy. I was like, I cannot do it. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm going to boil it. And even that, I thought I was going to die.
Are there obvious health benefits to sparkling or still? I mean, does carbon dioxide in it make any difference at all to your overall health?
No. It's purely there for people who struggle to drink water and want to have a fizzier version.
So it's entertainment.
Pretty much. It's like it helps it go down a little bit easier.
So it's just entertainment.
Because some
makes
people
no
can't
difference.
handle the taste of water.
Yeah, it took me.
They can't.
I only started enjoying it late in life. It took me a long time to understand why people enjoyed even soda water. But yeah.
Have you been studying the human sense of taste? Because obviously, one of the things I've been fascinated by is the way that we're developing technology now to replicate human sensory experience, right? So we've got people who can pop on a VR headset and they can feel like from the sight point of view and the audio point of view that they're in a place. So those two senses are being taken care of. You feel like you're actually experiencing a whole different universe in sight and sound. Then they've tried with touch to put people in these body suits, which are somatic, and they will push down on you, make it feel like someone's grabbing your
Blow
arm.
air onto you.
Yeah, they'll create the feeling of, and that's a difficult one to get right because we have it's almost like you can feel when someone's in the room. We all say we have that sense too, and it's probably an aspect of touch. But then you've got taste and smell, which are probably the most complicated ones of all. And I was saying to Leigh-Ann, I've got a friend who can't smell, just never been able to. He can taste really bad smells. Like if he drives past a sewage farm, he almost tastes something revolting.
Well, because those particles,
and smell and taste are linked,
in the
right?
air.
Yeah, of course, it's disgusting. But I wonder if we'll get to a point where we can actually develop a matrix of taste that isn't subjective. Because we all like to believe I like these kinds of foods, and that makes me individual and special.
I'm a super taster.
Tonight, I'm going to cook this particular dish, and it's going to be the best dish ever because I have taste that no one else has, which is probably bullshit.
Yeah.
We probably all have, call it 1,000 different things that we could taste. And that's it. That's the sum total of everyone's ability to taste.
Yeah, it's limited.
And you're not special, and your dish is not special, and you're not Gordon fucking Ramsay. But people are amazed, and you're a water sommelier, and I've met people who are wine fanatics and whiskey fanatics and all kinds of other things too. And it stands to reason, since water is often added to those things, especially things like whiskey. If you don't think about the water, first and foremost, you could be adding terrible shit to your whiskey that costs,
And
I don't know,
people do.
10,000 Rand a glass.
Yeah, and people do.
This
But
is
even
the most
in a
fundamental.
soft drink, the water that you see as an ingredient, what's that?
Yeah, could just be from...
Well, with people who are making beverages, like if you look at Woolworths, it says made with spring water, so they're transparent about that. And a lot of, if there's a water product that I don't know, I will resort to buying a beverage that I know versus the water, because that water is probably far cleaner and probably purified than the one that I actually don't know.
Grant says, my father drank shitloads of that Schweppes soda water. Awful stuff.
It is terrible.
But it's got high sodium in it, right? It's supposed to be a mixer for the drinks.
What percentage of bottled water comes from the same source? Well, I mean, they'll often say
depends.
this is sourced here.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that South Africans have caught on to is you'll have a supermarket that is taking water from a very popular water brand, and it's the same water but two different brands, and people didn't know that. And now they go and they're like, well, you can actually just buy the cheaper one because it's exactly the same. So there is a good and decent percentage of bottled waters that come from the same source under different brand names. So you've got to be able to read the label again and see where that comes from.
So Carl's right here. I mean, I agree with him. If you'd really like your water to taste like shit, buy the Nestle water. Why is that so shit? It really is.
That is the type of water that I'm tasting when I travel in Europe.
It's almost like glycerine. What the fuck's in there?
In the beginning of my journey, when I said to people that water has taste, they weren't convinced of such. So when I said, okay, well, what's your favorite water? They didn't have one. They're like, it's all the same. But they can tell you what the worst water was, and it was always the Nestle.
Why?
I don't know.
Where do they get that
So-
from? The fucking bottom of the sea?
I was like, well, no, they don't. But I think it's very creamy. It's very heavy in minerals. It's slightly bitter. And it's not a South African love, although it's a natural water. Like here, Nestle Pure Love comes from a natural source. It's just not something I'd say 1 in 10 people.
So I can't use the borehole that I have in front of my property because too much iron, apparently. And I would have to filter it quite heavily. So, I mean, I could probably use it for the garden or things like that. But what about these people who worry about the quality of the water in their showers? Because this has become a thing where a lot of, particularly women who are worried about their hair, and they maybe wash their hair 3-4 times a week. Or your skin. Yeah, it's a valid complaint. It's a valid concern that our municipal water, which is what most people use, is not very good for our hair and skin. What do you make of that?
Well, there's a chlorine element.
Yeah.
Right? So you can actually get these clip-in water filters that take that out.
That go into the shower head.
Yes. So that makes the water softer. Or you can have a plugged-in unit into your home.
Right.
That works. It makes a world of difference to hair.
Does it?
Yes.
Really?
You don't have this like lifeless, heavy water. If you go to a salon, say salon, they're filtering out water so that your product, I mean, it just lathers nicely. It feels light and fluffy. I would 100%.
Huh.
Like water filtration into your home to take out those hard elements.
Okay.
Completely recommended.
So that wasn't a stupid thing to talk about.
Not overrated at all.
I'm so relieved. Okay, I thought that might be a stupid question.
No.
My borehole from 120 meters down has better purity than tap water in Cape Town, says Chris, just boasting a little. But borehole water, obviously
It's groundwater.
it's groundwater, and you've got minerals and things in it.
But groundwater is forever changing, and remember,
Yeah.
we're also affected by what people are doing around us. So
Right.
if Joe
Have enough
up the
people
road has
pooing
cattle,
around the top.
exactly. If
Yeah.
he's got cattle in his runoff and you a little bit downstream, you're going to get it in your water.
Yep.
That's how it works. So it's not. You've got to test borehole water very regularly and have the filtration.
Vyasan says, "What is the use of flavored water? Does that make the water less healthy?"
So, in my
Usually
opinion, there's
sugar.
no such thing as flavored water. And actually, legislation here, like if you take a Bon Aqua, for example, if it's flavored, it no longer says water. It says drink, sparkling drink, or flavored drink, because they're
No,
not allowed to call it.
It should be a sparkling drink. It's not water.
It's not water.
No.
So when I went onto socials, I was like, there's actually no such thing as flavored water. It was almost like a smear campaign of Candice. They were like, where does she come from? Are there no brain cells? I'm like, where are your brain cells? I mean,
No,
honestly.
I'm on your side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not water. Is coffee water? Because there's something added to
No.
it? No. I'm glad there's other people who share this sentiment. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like there's no such thing as flavored water.
Okay, have you figured out what a healthy amount of water to have every day is?
No.
Because people say, you're going to drink at least 5 liters of water a day. 5? Some people
I saw
say
a guy
8.
at the gym
a lot.
with a 5-liter water.
No, you see, that's
And
ridiculous.
he took the 5-liter. I was like,
Whoa.
you must
He's
be
schlepping around 5
5
liters.
And at like 6 o'clock in the morning, he was halfway through.
But there are
was
people
like-
who've died
must
from
have-
drinking
yeah,
too
it's-
much water.
Yes.
you
It's
can't,
something
your
that
kidneys,
happens.
your
The wrong
kidneys
water.
can't cope.
There was a radio competition, I think, in Australia,
No, you drown.
where these people had to drink a certain amount of water, and so someone died.
Well, exactly, because there has to be minerals in your water.
Yeah.
So now if you have no minerals and you're drinking water, you're diluting your sodium levels in your body and you will die. You cannot have that imbalance. You've
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
have minerals in your water, especially if you're drinking a lot of it. So there isn't the right amount of water. I don't drink a lot of water. And it also, that old saying, 2 liters of water a day, actually applies to liquid. Your coffee counts, your other beverages count.
Yes.
You don't need to be piling yourself or drowning in water every day.
Yeah, and
I learned that because had my aunt at a doctor, and he said, "Are you drinking enough water?" And I know she doesn't drink water at all. She drinks coffee and Coke. And I said, "No, she doesn't drink any at all." And she says, "I drink coffee." I said, "That's not water." And the doctor said, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So there's no right amount, and I wish people would come away from that.
And I
Find what
suppose-
works for you.
You know, your cells work on the basis of many things, but one of those things is sort of an osmotic pressure with salt outside and salt inside the cell. And the water, obviously, that constitutes the major part of what the cell's made of. You need to have those balances right. Otherwise, you dehydrate, or you need to use electrolytes to rehydrate.
And sodium we lose 3.5 times faster than any other mineral or electrolyte.
Right, and
that's
you
one
use
thing you
sodium in your
replace it.
nerves as well. I mean, conducting up and down the actual nerve fibers is sodium and potassium ions.
So sodium was probably very important in that water drinking competition, is that they needed those minerals and electrolytes present.
Yeah.
As opposed to, someone told me once that they drink distilled water because they were trying to get lean.
Not going to
It's
help
like,
you.
It's not going to help you at
No.
all. And then there's nothing in it. Again, you're just flushing your system and further diluting your system with absolutely nothing in it. So I don't know what he looked like at the end of the process, but I was like, we should.
He's probably dead by now.
Well, I haven't heard from him.
People
again.
hear that 90% of muscle content is water, so when working out, they try to drink too much. Maybe that's it. Parallel parking in the comments.
But also, don't you think these people are big enough? I mean, some of these people are huge.
Listen,
I'm like,
Listen,
just slow down.
it's just it is enough, and
Yeah.
I, honestly, I'm very worried about like guys in high school who are becoming like monsters before they even leave high school. The fact that like, how are you going to support that body outside of your mom and dad's budget for food?
Wait until he hits 50, because I think if you're 50 plus and you still look good, then you've done something right. I think prior to that,
They're not. Their knees are going to fuck out. Their
Yeah.
hips are going to break. Their arms are going to be too heavy to drag around. A lot of them look like.
I think a lot of it's breeding, honestly.
You think so?
I told you I happened to be on an airplane and the Griquas rugby team onboarded.
One of them almost stepped on you.
Well, I thought the plane was going to be like this because they were all going to the back. But as they were passing, their hands were on the seats and things, and everything is just huge. They were enormous.
Yeah.
And then one of them said, "Hello, Tani so-and-so," in the front. And this man and woman were sitting next to each other. And obviously their son is one of them. And they were enormous people, both of them. That was like, it's like cattle breeding.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe we're developing the next level of human being. Who knows?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that genetic side is working its way out. I find that people are getting smaller or average size. I think there's a
Do you think so?
particular type of person that has that huge genetic.
Well, listen,
They're
I mean,
not like
I think that people have got to subscribe to all the things that you're doing. And it's just amazing. I mean, this water stuff, I'll never get bored of talking about it.
it does. We never have enough time.
I think it's been like a year since we discussed it last time. And now,
We did this a year ago.
you know, today I'm like, there's so much to cover. It's kind of ridiculous. But you've carved out this incredible career doing this stuff, and I think it's awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
It's really good and important. So if you want to know anything more, go and watch the channels. We'll put all the details of the links, everything you need to know in the show notes. Thanks, Ass.
Always a pleasure.
Have a happy day, and with your fancy toilets at work that suck everything out of the bowl. It sounds
I'm
revolting.
going to drop you a pin where you can find it.
I'm all right. Hey, I'm not
It's an
that.
experience. You must.
They're
Yeah,
super
you know.
clean, which is good.
A
Nothing
toilet is an
lingers.
ugly, unnecessary aspect of.
Life.
Yes.
I've always said I think it would be so much more dignified if we could just produce a pellet from our big toe twice a day and just kick it away with our shoes or whatever. No one would even have to deal with it. It'd just be so much better.
And then
So
we wouldn't have
revolting.
it in our river water, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I honestly think that our rivers in this country, we can get onto that one other day, but
We will.
they are such a fucking mess, and it is just appalling,
Yeah.
the state of our natural water. in
And I
South
don't think that the issue should be played down. And I don't
No.
think that people should just be relaxed and say that they said there's nothing to worry about.
No, there are filthy, dirty, dangerous, new, novel, evil diseases festering in these rivers that are going to kill us.
Yeah.
We've got to be super careful.
And they are studying them because they're always changing.
Yeah.
They're called CEC, so contaminants of emerging concerns.
Yeah. Oh, watch. And we all think now it's please, it's just a bit of pollution. Wait and see. These are the super bugs of the future.
I feel for that guy though. You see these people go to the Arctic and they scoop up the clear. I'm like, it's probably the stuff that killed the dinosaurs. And here
Maybe.
you are just scooping it up.
You never know. People who eat handfuls of snow and glacier water and yeah.
Hey, they think it's cleared.
No.
Shame.
Yeah, you got to be careful. And water can contain all kinds of dangerous stuff that isn't biological. You know, it can contain chemical and even
Forever chemicals are very
radioactive
present,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It's not great. I mean, if your water is, if it's neon colored, it's probably not a good sign.
No.
But probably if it's clear, it's probably
If it
also
glows
not a
in the
good
dark,
sign.
yeah. If it's fluorescent, that's probably not a good sign either. All right, thanks everybody, and thank you very much, Candice. Lovely to have you back, and Leigh-Ann, and you, and James, and Flex, and the puppy. We will see you on Wednesday.